The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by us are ours and do not reflect those of our employers, customers, family, or friends. While we have conversations about various topics, any mentions of drugs, sex, religion, politics, and the like that offends anyone should be considered satire and for entertainment purposes only. And yes, we can get a little toxic. So if you're easily triggered, have unresolved trauma, can't take a joke, or don't enjoy adult conversations, you've been warned. Listener discretion is advised. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod. The building. Yes, in the previous episode, I started off with 5 of them. Today, we starting off with 5 of us. It's not by accident, you know what I mean? We're going to introduce our girl Tia in a minute. But before we introduce everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that good shit. And as a matter of fact, shout out to everybody tapping in with Jay and everybody else in the comment sections. If you want the smoke, we got the smoke. And speaking of having that, we got the merch, y'all. Check out SNM holding down or picking up or exalting the merch, y'all. Check us out at theblcstore.com. You heard? But man, I'm so excited to be here with y'all. I got all my people with me. Yes, starting with the first lady, low key, of the BLC S&M in the building.
So first of all,
what's
I
happening?
just want to say shout out to Woody for showing me that extra love. So this for you. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Meanwhile, be sure to stay tuned to SNM Jones Writes, to check out when I'll be back in the circuit doing my book fairs and whatnot. And so starting in Richmond, Virginia in May, I will be back out there and whatnot promoting my books. So hope to see you there and stay tuned for more information.
Yes, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. It does my heart good when your homeboy hits you up out of nowhere and loves the content. Gave a shout out to S&M. And so I had to tell my girl, so Woody, man, I appreciate you. That's love right there. You know what I'm saying? So love, Woody, I appreciate you. Speaking of love from the homies, niggas I've been down with for years, decades even, I got my boy Jay in the building. Mr. Dashiki from China Street or Chinatown in the building. Mr. Goodwood. Go ahead, close up, get something in the
Straight
building.
from Taiwan.
Go ahead.
Straight from Taiwan. You know what I'm saying? Skirting them terrorists. So, yeah, it's your boy Jay. Just Jay in the building. You might know me as Mr. Goodwoods. I be him and him be I. Keeping it fly. I'm really just here for the conversation, man. I'm trying to give a perspective that sticks. I'm just, whether it's politics or lunatics, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to go from the classroom to the culture, you know what I mean? I'm a teacher, you know, yeah, bro, I'm a teacher, you know what I'm saying? And my public life, it's the public servant, and I come here, in my heart, I'm still like, I'm not teaching, but I'm reaching. I like the conversation. So I'm here for it all day, every day, y'all. We're going to keep it real and keep it 100 all the time. Let's get it.
You can tell Jay was a rapper in his former life, aspiring rapper.
You never believe what genre. You'll never believe what genre. Though.
Speaking of a specialization, Delvin, the expert, sir, what is yours? You're like the Tommy of the show. It's like Delvin the expert, but an expert in what, sir?
Man, I'm just an expert in, foolishnness and shenanigans and all manners of human, chicanery. So I just experience that so you guys can live vicariously through me, and I can just lay it out for you and hopefully keep you from making some bad life choices. So I'm just here getting hydrated and getting ready for Houston Cigar Week because we gotta stay hydrated so we don't crash out. Hope to see you all guys all there end of May. So I'm here for it. So I'm just going to, share my expertise with the people. Well, I'm glad to be here and blessed for season 5.
Yes, big five.
Up.
Speaking of the big 5, you know how like in basketball I had the big 3. Now we got the big 5. You know what I'm saying? Dun, 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 dun. And
True
now, starting in the 5th position, hailing from the West Coast. That's right, T.M.B.
Hey, that was like the dopest intro that I've ever had. I'm here for it. Thank you so much. So happy to be here. I know it took me a little while to get on board and make things happen, but thankful for the warm introduction and the good vibes. And I'm ready to talk a little banter with you guys. So I'm looking forward to it all.
Yes, we're looking forward to the banter. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about you, girl. Just a smidge, a little something, something. I know we're going to get to know you, but tell the people a little something, something
A
about
little
you.
sprinkle of something. I am originally from the Bay Area. I am a marriage and family therapist. I am sex positive, and I am a lover of all things Black. So I'm here to kind of share my perspectives and talk a little smack if I can.
Yes. Listen, I got to be honest with y'all. I am so excited about Tia being here because people have written me on the side and said, you know what, Nic, you need some therapy. You know what I'm saying? Now, she's not here in that official capacity. You know what I'm saying?
I don't work
people
for
like,
free.
who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me, boo? Okay. I mean, she gonna try. I don't think it's gonna work, but we appreciate her for tapping in. I'm excited to be with y'all. And shout out to all the people out there hustling, making their dreams come true. I got to tip my cap. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate having these conversations and encouraging each other. You dig what I'm saying? And we're all here. So gratitude is the attitude. So let's get this, the show started. SNM, what we talking about, man? What we talking about?
All right. So our very first topic is all about Wallo. And if you guys have not seen this man came at Black entrepreneurs. He came at Black businesses. And with that, to be more precise, he's literally was like, Black businesses are hustling. I'm sorry. I just had a moment because I was thinking about Wallo. Sorry, I had a squirrel moment. So let me just start that to say this way. So we're going to rewind this. So anyways, recently Wallo was in the news because he came at Black businesses. He was yelling and shouting, but some people say he was just passionate about it, where he basically said Black businesses was a hustle, that folks who stand on, oh, I'm a Black business, they are hustling. And he's not supporting anybody just because they're a Black business. And he'll say that all day, every day. And so I'm just curious as to what are you guys' opinion about this? Because the way he had it sounding like Black folks just can't do right. And because they're Black, they ain't getting his business. So let me just go ahead and clear some things up. He also mentioned customer care and quality. And I'll land there. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I'll just say that support is not a handout. You know what I mean? I don't owe anybody my support. It's my dollar, my time, my choice. You know what I mean? If it can be my body. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. I digress. Here's what I'm saying, though. I'm just saying I get to spend money where I want to spend it. He gets spend his money where he wants to spend it. And if time has shown him he cannot trust his dollar in those establishments and the time that he spent to take there, and he don't want to go there, then I respect his choice too. Right? And I say to people who listen to what he said, listen to what the rest of he said. And he said, listen, he gave the solution. I ask you this question. What are Black businesses known for? What? I mean, you can think about other cultures and you'll go, oh, not to be stereotypical, but Indian people, they own the hotels. And da, 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 da. What are we known for? We're known for bad customer service. That's tragic. And so if our businesses are associated with that, people will avoid our businesses. And what's even worse, and I'm going to get back on my soapbox and I'm going to get off, I promise. Okay? What's even worse is y'all don't see that these tariff things, okay? You future Black entrepreneurs is cutting into your Alibaba or whatever you're doing to get your stuff cheap, right? All y'all ain't coming up no more, okay? All y'all will have them fantastic prices. So it's getting smaller. So you better compete on something. You can't compete on price. It better be on quality and customer service. Your boy was right. I see.
Jay, wow. Way to weave that back in. I'm sorry, but go ahead, Delvin.
Come for me.
I'm call back like a motherfucker, but go ahead.
I'll be remiss not to agree with Jay. I mean, you got to support Black businesses, especially Black businesses that offer excellence, because we have a duty to not support mediocre or Black businesses that do poor customer service or, poor business or shady business, because the more you support them just because they're Black, the longer they're going to stay open and the longer the mediocrity is going to stay in the system. You have a duty to not support mediocre Black businesses. And there may be few and far between, but tell you one thing I know about Black people, you'll drive 30 minutes to get your cheeks clapped. So go drive 30 minutes to support that business. And I'm done.
Well, Miss Sex Positive, I believe this on you.
I kind of don't know.
No, you said you have a duty to not support. Okay, you with the opposites. Okay, like you said, you have a duty not to support. Okay,
A mediocre one, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that Black people have a tendency to think that our allegiance and our loyalty means our continued support regardless of environment or what we experience. I do agree that we have some poor customer service skills that we employ or the lack thereof. I do want to just consider the fact that we really don't have the ability to access resources like other people do. So business school, trainings, funding to kind of teach you how to run a business effectively is not something that we really tap into or have access to because of other reasons. So that might contribute to the poor customer service or lack of business acumen that we see. Does it excuse it? Absolutely not. Am I going to support your shitty business? Absolutely not. But will I try once? Yes, I will come and spend my dollar with you in support of the first time. If not, I'm going to go wherever I need to go to get my needs met, whether that be a Chinese food place or whomever else is serving what I like. That's just where I'm going to do.
Yes. I don't know if I want to break the wall or not, or just, I don't know what direction I want to go in. I'm going to be honest with the audience for a second here. Like in these topics, there's like different parts where I'm like, how do I feel about this? Right. Because in truth, what he said to the audience, he said was appropriate, right? In the sense of he was speaking to entrepreneurs and encouraging them to try to provide a really great product and not focus on the hustle that is supporting Black businesses, because that is a hustle, right? If we're gonna talk about it just a little bit, that people lean on that as if that is the Black business. I'm doing X, I'm gonna slap this label on it, and I expect some support without consideration for the business, the machinations, the customer, the target audience. If we're gonna be honest, way too many of us start businesses with having no idea what the fuck we're doing, and we don't even research, right? And then kind of know who our customers are, for example. With that being said, though, right? So I think that's part of it. But I think the other part was, I think the phrase that I hear a lot is hit dogs hollering. I think the people who had a problem with what Wallo said are like hit dogs, right? Because the part about bad customer service seemed to hit them in a certain type of way, because he ain't really say anything wrong for real. Right? If you listen to the whole thing, and I get that, there's a clip, and so it's partly clickbait. But when you hear how we as Black people respond to certain things, I think it's because we know there's a lot of fucking truth. And so instead of just addressing what the issue is, we rather try to kill the messenger, even though Wallo has a history of supporting Black businesses. What we don't do enough is look in the mirror and be honest with ourselves. We don't do that individually, and we certainly don't do that as business owners. You're not doing that like in your personal life in general, right? If you're not open to accountability, all of a sudden, because money is on the line, well, maybe you'll be a little bit more accountable. You would think so, right? But the truth is, no. If you looked up Black people's Yelp, just in math, there are some sectors and businesses who are doing great. But unfortunately, there's a reason why some of us don't do business with y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And so rather than get mad at me because you think I am somehow being reverse racism with my dollars, no, it's not what it is. I would rather support you. But at the same time, do you know the opportunity cost, the actual cost, the additional pay? Like at some point in time, it's like you're asking me to make a sacrifice that you wouldn't even be willing to make if I told you something was wrong with the order and you decided to give me a little extra something just to try to smooth it over like good customer service people would do. You would think that's a bridge too far when you want me to pay all the additional costs, right? And at some point in time, if we're all oppressed, why should I have my shackles have to be added on to accommodate the fact that you're trying to get out of yours, especially if you don't give a fuck enough about your business to strive for some level of excellence. So miss me with that. And finally, right, I'm gonna be honest a little bit more in season 5. Yeah, I try to support Black businesses when it's convenient for real. When I can find the Black businesses, when I have like the network or some intel that is good. But y'all expect niggas who's not doing, I'm not going on TikTok. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. I got a whole bunch of other shit. Whenever it's lightly convenient and makes sense, or I got a good lead, yes, I'm going to support Black businesses. You know what I'm saying? There's way too many of y'all niggas out there making it seem like y'all supporting Black businesses, which is why these Black businesses think there's a profit in that. I'm sorry to tell y'all there isn't. You know what I'm saying? Unless it becomes a fad, or it's popular, or some celebrity or influencer mentioned it. Got niggas standing in line for slutty vegan. That shit was not all that, but niggas fell for the okie doke, right? But it's cool, because I'm the one that's tripping. Let's just keep it a fucking buck. And like I said, man, I'm going to keep it more real in 2025 and in season 5. Y'all niggas need to come up with other businesses aside from the standard fare. Fuck a restaurant. Come up with some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Because how can I look for more black businesses if y'all niggas ain't nowhere to be found in the areas where I need the fucking service? Miss me with that. And it don't cost that much to get a fucking website, to get a fucking email domain with your fucking business name on there. There are free tutorials that do the basic shit. Because that's the shit I look for when I look for certain businesses. They should do the basic shit. And some of y'all niggas don't even do the basic shit and get mad when niggas don't fuck with y'all. Come on, man. Go ahead, CB4. Get in there.
Yeah, I was like, I'm CB4 black all day, every day. I'm blackity black, 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 but not the fake black that got a white wife or white husband in the background. Let me not sound
the fake. Who you talking about? Harry Belafonte? Was that towards Harry Belafonte?
Towards Sidney Poitier.
Are you saying that you can't be? Are you saying you can't be pro-black if you're married to a white person?
That you can, no, I agree. You can technically still be pro-black, but the difference is what are the chances of that person putting back into the black community? Like you may be personally putting back to the black community, but is she going to a black beauty shop? Is she shopping in? So anyways, with that being said, but look, let me go back to this. So what I'm hearing is that, because my question, when Jay asked that question, so this is rhetorical. When Jay asked that question, like, what are black people known for? Bad customer service. My first question was, how do we become known for bad customer service? Because, you know, back in the day, black folks used to excel at customer service, particularly long, long time ago when they sold watermelon as an example. And then, you know who got a hold of that? Because they found out how much money black folks was making selling watermelon. They made it a negative trope and negative stereotype. And therefore, black folks kind of disassociated themselves with the watermelon business. And so my question is that what we're experiencing within the black community now, where somebody said, oh, they got poor customer service. And while unfortunately some things become internalized as a stereotype, we then internalize and act on it to our own detriment. But is that how it actually started? Because how do we know about this bad, poor customer service? I think I'm going to give an example. So today I had an appointment at 9:00. The person was 10 minutes late. I was the first appointment of the day. My husband was with me and she called to let me know she was running 10 minutes late. The first thing my husband said was, oh, this is a black business, ain't it? And I was like, what the, you know, and I was like, why automatically did you assume it was a black business? And then I said, well, actually, yeah, because if you know me, I'm going to shop black first. I'm going to do business black first. And because I want to support within the black community. And, but I was like, yo, I'm experiencing some anti-blackness from you for you to make that statement. He said, nah, cause they late. And I said, shit, she was probably expecting us to be late. She probably surprised that we early and on time. I was like, I don't know. But the point is, I think that we lead sometime with these tropes and therefore we come in with these attitudes and we're already expecting the worst. So as soon as they do something that we view as being detrimental or not necessarily customer oriented service, then we'll say, oh, that's because they're black. But like I said, we'll go to Chinese place, get beat up, everything apparently, and we'll still shop in there, still get our nails done. We'll still eat some roaches. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying this. I don't know if they got roaches.
Wow.
I'm not
wow. I wish I'd have interjected.
Are you sure you want to shoot that community as well?
Can I interject and save you?
This is very stereotypical.
Wow.
Stereotypical. But I will say that for the shops, like we'll still shop in the quickie marts. We'll still shop we'll still get our nails done. We'll still get these things taken care of, no matter how bad they treat us, because we've already proven that it doesn't matter how they treat us when we spend our dollars. So all I'm saying is, yes, black businesses, customer service needs to improve in some cases, in some businesses. But I also am saying that for those who say, hey, I want it done, well, shit, where else would you want it done at? You know what I'm saying? And if you find yourself not wanting it done at somebody else who was of another ethnicity, then why are you wanting done with the black folks, the black business? That's all I'm asking. Just consider that when you move forward. But otherwise, he got a point about the customer service. He got a point about you should shop with a place that provides excellent customer service, or at least quality customer service, quality care. And I'm just saying that sometimes we have a tendency to come in with preconceived notions, and therefore, no matter what that black business do, we're already checking for it to be wrong.
No, real quick, Jay, I'm going to pass it to you. You know what's funny, S&M? If you have a preconceived notion and you get proven correct, then what leg do you have to stand on at that point, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I mean, I feel like I hate when you be like, it's anti-black, when it's usually in situations when niggas prove the nigga correct. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if it was a situation where hey, watch them be late, and then they're not late, okay, you got a case there. But if he's like, they're late, and then you confirm that, it's like you don't really have a case there. Just like with the whole resting bitch face. If you're mad for real, then it's like, okay, your face truly describes how you're feeling. And how is that a trope? So I hate when y'all be throwing that shit around. Like, no, this is specific and it's accurate. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I just want to say that, we can give grace to scale, right? Economies of scale, right? I'm a teacher. I would talk like a teacher, whatever. We can give grace to that. We can give the grace fact that you haven't made it big yet. You might not have everything. That's fine. And we can take marks off of our customer experience. That's fair too, right? And maybe that goes in your overall customer service, right? But you know what another part of customer service is that people are always overlooking is courtesy. Courtesy. If you have courtesy, it'll go a long way in you not having the things that other places have, right? And I'm going to say this, and maybe I'm too old for the rest of y'all to get this. But I remember when there was a lady in the neighborhood who sold candy, and she sold like Kool-Aid pickles and chips and stuff, right? And she was just as good as the corner store, and people went to her. Not because she had like the big refrigerators, whatever, but she had courtesy at her spot. You could go to her house, get your little candy and whatever, and go back, right? So we will support Black business. We grew up doing that, but can we at least have courtesy in our customer service? Let's be known for courteousness. Let's be known for that. Let's be excellent at something. Let's start choosing that, and everything else will get better.
Listen, the only thing I would say is in closing this conversation, because there's other things that we want to talk about for sure. There's just be more accountable, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the business, be in the business of business. Understand who your customers are. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not about, okay, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna land with this one, right? Like, I'll be honest with y'all. How many of y'all rely on family and friends to support your business for real, for real? I don't know about y'all, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like you're likely to get support from strangers sometimes more than it is if people be close to you. And I feel like, unfortunately, that'd be the truth sometimes, right? Not just in terms of like Black people, but I guess since I mostly know Black people, that's the reality of it to a certain extent. Sometimes familiarity breeds contempt. People be jealous, they be hating. There's a lot of reasons why people don't support, and I get that. But yeah, we don't support for a reason. I hate that it's like that, but I also think it's because we're not also being accountable too. And nobody wants to keep on bumping their head into a situation if nobody's going to be accountable. But speaking about accountability though, because when I heard about this story, I was like, oh my God, first of all, I love Tracee Ellis Ross. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm going to say this right now, not too much on Tracee Ellis Ross. Let's be clear. I'm going to say that right now. Okay, but apparently she was on the Michelle Obama, or was it Craig Robinson? I'm not sure whose podcast, but they're both on there. And so she was talking about the grief that she feels sometimes, how she lives in it, she sits in it sometimes, in regards to her not having any kids and also not having a partner. That's right, not having a partner was included in her thing that she felt grief about, for those women out there who may not think that's a thing. But with that being said, what are your thoughts about her opening up about the grief that she felt, and Michelle Obama finally doing more episodes of her podcast? So what are y'all thoughts in terms of, Tracee Ellis Ross and, admitting grief? I feel like the ladies should go first on this one.
I think so too.
The ladies
I'm going to yield to Tia.
Yeah,
no, I'm going to yield to Tia first. No, I'm going to yield to Tia as the new one on the show.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if it's a male-female thing, but I think that anything that you do too much can breed contempt and or resentment. And so I feel like that may be kind of what she's going through. Like, she probably was overbooked, she was busy, she was paid, she was working regularly and didn't really have time to slow down for a relationship. And having that is great in the moment, but when it's not long standing, then you'll end up regretting or resenting what you've missed. And so it makes sense that she's grieving the relationships. She has to be like in her 50s at this point, thinking about having a child at that age, even if you have a really good partner, is going to be difficult in your 50s. And so, yeah, I think that it's fair that she's grieving. Do I have empathy for her grief? Kind of like, not really. But do I understand it? Sure. I get it.
Oh, what can you tell me a little bit more about the empathy part?
Why I don't have empathy?
Yeah.
Because I think that, the money is so good that you don't want to focus on anything else. So you made a choice. If you made that choice, and you exceeded and you excelled at it and life was good for you, then you can't look back and be like, oh, I was a millionaire and I had riches and I was on Essence and I did all these things, but damn, I missed out on this. You can, but I don't have to feel badly for your successes and the things that you had to sacrifice to get there in your mind, because somebody else did it differently.
Okay, S&M.
So I actually am leaning towards that as well. First of all, I'm just going to say this. She chose the path that she was on. She clearly knew at some point in her life, if this was something that she desired or wanted, then that there was going to have to be some type of give and take on her part to get what she desired. And for her, so she chose her career first and foremost. There are women who are career women with families, right? And then there are career women like her who don't have families. I appreciate the fact that she provided a different perspective pertaining to her grief, because so often we hear about how single women are the happiest, right? And so there's these new studies that are coming out that still state that single women are the happiest. However, there's a caveat in this latest one that indicates that Black women still would prefer to be in a relationship. And so I found that interesting, that differentiation within this latest study that was done. I guess it was like 6,000 people who participated in the study. And so for her, I'm just like, come on, as much as I'm going to not do it because you said not too much from Tracee Ellis Ross. All I'm going to say is when she did Girlfriends, she must have set herself up, because that's what her life ended up looking like. That's all I would say. How about that?
Okay, I mean, fellas, what we tippy-toeing around here? What's going on? What's going on? You guys. Delvin, Jay scared.
You're funny? Oh,
Jay scared.
I was trying to pass it over to Delvin, man.
That's messed up.
Listen.
No, he's playing team ball. He's playing team ball. Go ahead, Delvin.
I'm trying not to be
he's playing team ball.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I think it's pretty, pretty cool of her to be, vulnerable about and talk about that, because there are other women who are, maybe have those similar choices that she's already made, and it could be a cautionary tale or something that can help somebody else out. So I totally get that, and I appreciate that openness and that transparency. But got to be real, man. She had a chance, like the 99 and the 2000. I can't believe that every guy she was in contact with in that social circle and that tax bracket wasn't good enough. I'm just not buying that. At some point, that's a you thing. If you're around the richest, famous, most well-known, high-profile Black men and men in general on the planet, and nobody was good enough, or nobody kind of fit the bill, then that's a you thing. I can't have any sympathy for that. I'm sorry. That sucks, and I hate that for her, but I'm just not buying it that everybody was just didn't measure up. That was a choice you made, and that's okay. You are where you are. And that's how I see it.
Okay.
But did she say that though?
You good?
Did she say they didn't measure?
No love.
Did she say that?
No,
that's a good question.
You can't infer anything else other than that.
Other than what?
Technically, you can infer that there was a bunch of men who wanted babies preferred babies over marriage, or carriage before marriage, and perhaps those men were the ones that she was attracting. So there's technically two ways you could infer what was happening.
Okay.
Well, here's what I do know. She may not have had any kids, but I'm going on a limb to say she probably wasn't celibate. So I mean, you make time for what you want to make time for. It's choice. I mean, that's my girl. That's my boo. I love her. I'm here for girlfriends and everything.
Yeah. But mind you, I'm the Tracee referee here, so this is still in bounds. He's making salient points. Good. There's nothing out of bounds that he has said.
No flag on the play.
No flag on the play. Go ahead, Jay. It's all in bounds. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna try to stay in bounds. I really am. So now I don't really have. I don't. Okay, so I have sympathy with everybody who felt sorry for her. Okay, I have sympathy for those people, and the reason I have sympathy for them is because something in her situation resonated in your situation, and I think I might know what it is. I think you've realized you can't have it all. You realize that story of your life that you imagine, you have somehow managed to get a lot of it, or maybe enough of it that you can show to other people, but not enough that you're happy. And so now you're like, dang, I wish I had done this, wish I had done that. But like my brother was saying earlier, it's opportunity cost, right? And it's okay. It doesn't mean, because what I really think she's scared of is, I really think she's scared of two things, right? Dying alone, right? Okay. And of not having experienced certain dynamics and relationships in her human experience that she would have likely had she been a wife and a mother, right? Some relationship dynamics. Now, y'all say that, she was picky, she was evident while she's single. Yeah, I believe she was picky. I think that she knew what kind of vibe she wanted, and she was not going to sit down with anything that wasn't her vibe. And I'm good with that, right? I think her grieving now is that she has failed to reshape her vision. She has failed to say, you know what? Just because it's not like this, I still have this, and I could be poly. I'm just gonna say it. Now, for real, all jokes aside, seriously, change your dynamic. What family looks like, what raising kids looks like. You can still have the experience that you always wanted, and you don't have to grieve.
Look at Jay being solutions oriented. When I first pictured this story, it's interesting how, like, when you go on Instagram and you swipe, because it was like, I think on the Shade Room, and it was breaking down into like several different slides. So when I saw the first slide, I was like, oh, this is what's up. And I think that's when she was talking about the grief that she was feeling. And so I was like, oh, that's what's up. Because you rarely really hear people be that vulnerable to talk about grief in that way. I feel like when I hear grief, it's like a sense of loss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, and when I hear that, I also kind of hear a sense of regret. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times, like, even with the Ebony K's, there's been a lot of conversations, oh, I'll just be the rich auntie and all that other kind of stuff. But then you meet somebody who, low key, she should be happy as the rich auntie, right? Or at least if she made these choices, then she should be good. So for me, what I heard was somebody who still is not reconciled in her choices. Like, when women make these choices, maybe I'm just thinking at it from a logical male brain. I've made a lot of choices in my life, and if I truly was solid when I made them, I stood on them, I'm not going back feeling no type of way about it like that, for real, because I did consider those things. It sounds like a lot of people be going through life not making certain considerations and then kind of find themselves having to grieve the fact that they've misstepped. Because to me, that's what I hear. It goes back to the whole Michelle Obama thing. It's like, if you made that choice on the front end, why are we still tripping about it on the back end? It sounds like to me that you just didn't really reconcile with that. And so I thought it was beautiful that she was open about it, because I think women needed to hear that. I mean, this is Tracee Ellis Ross, for goodness sake. This is a woman who I think by all accounts, people think she's attractive, she's smart, she's funny, she checks a lot of boxes, right? And so I think that's where the first slide was. But then when I slid again to the second slide to answer Tia's question, she started talking about men today, for example, because I think she's already given up on the kid thing. And she started talking about men today. And I guess the challenges she's facing now. She talked about how she'd meet guys, and she used the example of maybe some men who she would meet, maybe like homophobic, or they would use certain language. Like, my God, I'm using this language, right? And right there was what Delvin was talking about, the truth. Right? Because a tiger doesn't change their stripes like that. You feel me? The way that she was talking in the rest of the slides indicated to me that I didn't really hear no accountability for real, for real. I heard somebody explaining a feeling that they were having, and then went on to like talk about why she's having an issue now. I did not hear accountability, to be honest with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I heard some vulnerability, kind of, I guess, if you're talking about you grieving. But to me, and no knock to Michelle and Craig, but they weren't really good host or fucking interviewers. Like, what do you mean by grief? Why would you feel grief? When you were going through your life, didn't you know you was making these choices? Like, can you walk us through why you feel grief? You're such a healed and whole person. Walk us through how you've healed through that grief that you still are sitting in periodically. She act like she was a victim of some accident that happened to her that she is still having to learn how to cope with, as opposed to being accountable for her fucking life choices. And right then and there, crumbled right in front of my very eyes, was the image that I had of her. Nah, boo, I agree with Delvin 100 fucking percent. And I'm gonna land with saying this for y'all women who want to sit there and empathize low key. Because what she does is almost makes it impossible for y'all to have any excuse for real, right? Because if she can't find a man, who am I to be able to go out there and find a man? You know what I'm saying? If Tracee Ellis Ross, she didn't have to date an athlete or date a nigga on her financial level. She could have had a pick of niggas, and y'all could stop and miss me with the, oh, sometimes if she dates a guy who makes less to her. You didn't know. She didn't try for real. There's no credible way that she made it through Hollywood and couldn't find a husband. That makes sense. The chances, even with her mama being Diana Ross, and her mama was Diana Ross. So with that, I'm saying, fuck that. You broke my heart. In the words of Drake, you broke my heart because you're just like the rest of them. I was going to give her grace if she at least was accountable, but she didn't account for a motherfucking thing. And if nothing else, it made me realize why she's single now and most likely will probably always be single. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. It was not too much, but fucking everything on Tracee Ellis Ross.
Okay, so I just want to jump in and say I'm proud of you, Nic, because I was trying so hard, and then for you to go ahead and just let it out, I'm proud of you because, I was like, she got to cosplay. That's all that matters. So you know what being a wife is like. She just don't know what it's actually like. She ain't lived it. But you know what I'm saying? I love it.
Got to play one on TV.
She played one on TV. That's wrong.
SNM. That's all you got, SNM. You do it. It hurts. It hurts.
I'm just saying, I'm just happy. I'm excited. I was not expecting this turnabout.
No, man, because the first thing got me and I kept on going and I'm like, my mouth was agape by the time I got to the
Not
fifth
agape.
slide. You know what I'm saying?
Agape.
She says, so listen, I know everybody trans, whatever, like we all cool, but some of the stuff she was saying as the example, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Where's the accountability? Come on, man. The same thing with Common. Come on, man. Maybe her and Common should get together. Two fuck niggas and a fuck chick getting together and maybe making something happen. I am so disappointed in her. I'm heartbroken. You broke my heart, Tracee Ellis Ross. You and Ebony K, sit your asses over there. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Esther.
I'll just say, Tia, you like you want to say something before I jump on to the next one.
I mean, what I heard was that women don't have the option in changing their minds. Like, that might have been 20 or 30 years ago before the money was rolling in and the opportunities were rolling in. And she was unbusy when she said, hey, I need to dedicate all this into my life and my career. And maybe now that she has that and that has slowed down finally, now she's like, damn, I made the choice 30 years ago, but I changed my mind. Now, the sad part about it is your ovaries and things, she has enough money to make those things go back. She can have a surrogate if she wanted to. She doesn't need a man to have a baby. Let's be very clear. She can grow one in a tube and it'll be hers and the world will never know the difference. We're going to honor it just the same. Like, she changed her mind. Grief does not always mean tolerance and acceptance. It means it's a portion of understanding you lost something that you would rather have. That's it.
She changed her mind. It didn't sound like, did you watch the rest of the slides? I could hear what you're saying. And I'm glad you said that, Tia, and we can move on to SNM. But that's the thing, right? If she would have came out and said, you know what, I'm feeling grief because looking back on it, I know I prioritized certain things, right? And she would have had that conversation. That's why I said they did a piss poor job, or at least maybe I just saw the clip, so I take that back. Maybe they dove into it. But the clip that we saw, the part that we saw, didn't really delve into that core, the core of the grief. You know what I'm saying? And it does people a disservice because there's a lot of young women today making this choice. And we're going to probably talk about it a little bit later. But this is the quintessential question I think a lot of women today are dealing with in terms of modernity, their careers, their explorations, the desire for family. And to Delvin's point, this idea that you can have it all. So I just think it's heartbreaking because I didn't see that part from her. So if it's on me, Tracee, I'm sorry. I do want to love you. But if that's the type of time that you're still on, that part I did see, girl, you need somebody to help you. You know what I'm saying? You're in your own way. You've always been in your own way.
I'm available.
And let's be honest, as big of a star as she is, she ain't that big of a fucking star. Even Beyonce was able to go out there and get herself a husband that's to have some fucking kids, okay? So
That's
miss me with your C-level ass.
My
She could have went out there and found somebody to get with. Go ahead.
Wow.
I love her, but we got to be honest.
No, not he protected her. Not like that. Not
I
like
was
that.
just not her C-level.
Not like
You know
that.
what? Who
Oh,
apparently
you think she a B-level celebrity? Who here thinks she's a B-level celebrity? Raise your hands if you think she's a B-level.
I'll give her B.
I'm saying we all like her too much.
Okay,
We all like her too much to say it in public.
Go ahead.
Look, we can't skate past what Nic said. Look, you're not busier than Beyonce, who got married and had 2 kids. You're not.
Look
not
what
behind.
she married.
Ooh.
And we talk about settling in standards.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if Tracee Ellis Ross had settled the way Beyonce settled,
Ooh, not Jay-Z, not too much on the jigger, man.
And a settling
I
double
love
entendre.
Hov, but let's keep it real. Like, he was not the prime pickings when he met Beyonce. First of all,
She was looking for another father.
well, because
Okay,
she was
listen, we're
17.
not gonna go down this rabbit
Right,
hole.
okay.
We're not
Right.
gonna go down this rabbit hole because
So,
we
yeah,
still
I
okay.
got
Go ahead.
you. I got you. So
Okay.
speaking of young, being young and dumb, but hopefully living with no regrets. Our next story, wow, she is living the dream, or at least her dream, where she is homeless, taking care of herself in Planet Fitness gyms and whatnot. I'm pretty sure that was a Planet Fitness. But anyways, she has gone viral because she was prepping for a date. I'm talking about this woman was getting full makeup and everything to get ready for this date. And last week we just had that whole conversation about 29 men who shouldn't date. And so I'm just curious, should this woman who is clearly homeless be dating right now? Is it appropriate for her to be dating? What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yes, I'll go first because last week I sat here and said there was only one woman that I felt like should not date. So when I watched that video, I was like, is she pregnant? And when I did see a bump, I was like, oh, okay, good for her. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I was like, damn, how resourceful, girl, you are on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you homeless, but you ain't got to show up stanking. Your hair was did. She took a shower, got dressed, hair was done. So when she showed up to the date, she was probably smelling good, hopefully, looking good or whatever, putting herself in a position to maybe snag a man, maybe snag a home. You know what I'm saying? Not too often is a date also like doubling for an interview for an apartment. You dig what I'm saying? But like low key. So I'm not mad at people hustling and doing what they got to do to elevate themselves. I think relationships are great ways. Now, if she's lying to the dude and not telling him, depending on her situation, like finessing him out of money, that's completely wrong. But as they get to know each other, if she's not necessarily stressing him or putting no pressure on him, they get to know each other, they build a relationship, and then she let him know, hey, by the way, you know what I mean? I think that could work out. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to stand on what I said last week. As long as she wasn't pregnant, hey, go out there and do your thing. And lastly, fellas, look at what she did. Some of y'all niggas be in the same position, but y'all be showing up as good, right? So if you got to get your little gym membership, probably cost you about $50 or maybe as low as 10. Make sure you show up smelling good, man. Just because you're homeless don't mean you got to look that way. You dig what I'm saying? Kudos to her for being ingenious, but keeping herself up and putting herself out there to date Martin. I go ahead and give her 2 thumbs up for that effort. Go ahead.
Not the 2 thumbs up. Delvin, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we based on our conversation last week, yeah, it is a double standard. I'm okay with it, women can be, homeless or in transition some kind of way. Guys, you just don't really get that grace, especially over a certain age. I understand if it's in service to a higher goal, you're saving for some type of a larger thing that you're trying to do. I get that. But men, I think guys, you shouldn't be dating. Ladies, I think it's a good angle. Go ahead and date. Try to find your guy, especially if he likes you. He's going to let you stay there. I would tell him up front, hey, listen, I like you. I live in my car. He's going to let you stay there. It could work out. You can probably get everything you want. It's one-stop shopping. I think it's turnkey. I think it's a positive. I think it might make dating easier for her. You know what I'm saying? What guy is going to say, when he finds out, oh, we're on a date. Hey, well, can I come to your house? Well, no, I live in my car. Most guys, if he's decent, it's not going to say, all right, well, girl, you be easy. Call me when you get home. He's not going to do that. He's going to say, listen, you can come over here. You can stay out, sleep on the couch, whatever. We'll work something out. That's what's going to happen. This is gold for her. She's not going to be homeless for long. I can feel it. My spirit is telling me she is not going to be homeless very long. 3rd date max. He's going to say, look, you come stay with me. I feel it.
You think so, huh? Think so? I think he's like, do you steal? Are you crazy? Why you don't stay nowhere? Because, there's some questions as to why a person would choose not to live anywhere or have any attachments to anything, right? Not to have any responsibilities, not to have any, don't even say the word, accountability. To pay a bill, to be somewhere, to have to support something, to work towards something, to say, yes, I put my 2 feet to the ground and I stood my ground against all of that life has to push from my square on this earth, right? There is something to be said for somebody who does that. And I'm not saying a person who hasn't done that should be questioned, but I am saying that if you're not working on a place to stay, then what are you doing? And if you're dating as a way of working on a place to stay, then just say that's what you're doing. right? Then I know you are truly resourceful. And now you're resourceful, you're forward thinking. You're a good communicator. Baby, I see you. I like talking to you because I know what's up and we both know what's up and ain't nobody capping. So yeah, let's take that approach. But yeah, I'll stop there. Let everybody date. Because you know what? I'm going to say one more thing. If you're laying next to somebody that you're not married to, y'all go out occasionally and shit, right? But you're not married, okay? And you know that person laying next to you could not afford their own place if you kick them out tomorrow. Okay, you dating a homeless person. They just shower at your spot. Okay, they shower with you and they sleep with you and they eat with you, but they homeless for right now because they could not afford a home if they weren't with you, and that's okay because they working towards something. I'm saying don't judge them. I'm saying recognize you got one too, right? Because if you couldn't date a homeless person, the homeless people will never get married. There'd be a bunch of singles home people around. You have a bunch of singles homeless kids with no families, right? That's probably it came out wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say that came out all wrong, and you sounded a little far away. So I think it was meant to come out wrong.
Yeah, it must have been. That was Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, my Lord and Savior. He be coming through. Y'all don't know. He loved me. I'm his favorite.
Can we turn his mic off? No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, Tia, man.
Go ahead, Tia.
Ooh, I don't even know where to go in on it.
Okay, for real. Look, really, okay. Let me succinctly say something that's not just ridiculous. Okay, and some of
Go
ahead. No, I'll stop.
No, it's okay. It was good. We got you. We just got you.
No, we good. Period. Yeah. We moving on. Quick take.
Go ahead.
We heard the lie. Y'all niggas is lying. Y'all are not about to date no homeless female showering in the goddamn Planet Fitness. You know how I know? Because you guys are hard on a hard-working woman who has her shit together, who's a single mom. You're not going to date a homeless bitch staying in her car. If you know up front, you're going to question all of those things. Is she a thief? Accountability. Why can't you pay your bills? What in her saying, I can't, I didn't, and I shan't is attracting to you? What makes that feel like, you're the one for me, babe? Come lay on my couch. I don't know those niggas who say, come lay on my couch. I am not the woman that says because I'm laying with you and you're homeless that you can stay tonight. You're gonna be, your feelings are gonna be hurt, messing with me. Oh, you ain't got nowhere to stay? Well, let me know you made it. Have a good night. Call me in the morning when you're getting your coffee. When you're getting your morning shower at 24-hour fitness. Let me know if somebody jumped you last night. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to be your refuge. Let's just be very clear. But I also don't know those type of people who'd be willing to date when they're at that level of transition. And I think that's important. Like, if you are not in a place of security and stability, like, no, you can't approach me because what are you going to do for me that meets me at the table that I'm already sitting at? And God bless you for your efforts, but I need you to be here. I can't really, Planet Fitness, I'm not going to be able to do it.
So first, I just want to say that there are things called hobosexuals, right? Those are people who look for homes to and have sex in exchange for a place to stay, right? That is a thing now. But I'm going to answer your question when you said what type of people? College students, because I was a college student who was homeless for a full 2.5 months and was dating. As a matter of fact, my husband, who's now my boyfriend, sorry, I messed that all up. He was my boyfriend at the time, and now he's my husband. He didn't know that I was homeless because the sister wasn't saying shit, right? It was like, because I didn't view myself as homeless officially because I was just hopping from dorms to dorms, house to house, staying until I can get my finances right to get a dorm room. And so with that being said, I am thankful that he was one of them double standard ass persons. And once he found out that I was homeless, and hopping from dorm to dorm, room to room, house to house, he was like, yo, let me help you. Let me help you get an apartment. And I was like, what? You gonna help me get an apartment? And so that is a way to get an apartment, is dating while you homeless. So I'm gonna give her a shout out because, at the end of the day, she found a way to get what she wanted because she said she ain't paying rent, and 9 out of 10. So I am thankful because I actually had a job too. I don't know if she had a job, but I had a job. So my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he and I both worked to pay for this hotel/apartment, but it seemed more like a hotel because it was, anyways, moving on. And I'm thankful for the double standard. But But let's not act like homosexuals don't get the shit. Like, all they gotta do is drop off some good peen, and they up in the house too. Let's not act like that don't happen.
It
Come on,
happens.
man.
Exactly.
It happens.
Yeah, thank you, S&M. Standing in your truth.
I'm just saying, like, it happens. And so I personally say, I don't know where she got her curls from and why that was something that was with her while she was homeless, because I was carrying the bare necessities, you know what I'm saying? Clothes, toothbrush, toothpaste. But either way it goes,
Her
I give
weave
her a
was
shout
fresh.
out for being inventive. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This woman decided what her priorities were. I don't know why those particular, I don't know her story, so let me be quiet. So she decided what her priorities were, and she went with it. You know what I'm saying? My priority was to get a dorm room. I was saving up to get a dorm room. I was trying to get financial aid.
Facts.
So, I'm just saying there's times where people can be homeless. I don't know if that means they shouldn't date. Now, I will say that sometimes when men, when they may show up as homosexuals, they put their best foot forward. You don't know they homosexuals till the next day, they're like, oh, I was living at my mama's house. And then next thing you know, they're up in your house, in your bed with the peen all up in you because you like, oh, snap. So,
that's what's happening out here in these streets. S&M. That's a fact. Listen, as a former homosexual, because I too was homeless in college, and shout out to all the ladies who held me down. You know what I'm saying, and provided safe harbor for your boy. You dig what I'm saying? And so, I did, provide some services in return. They'll always have a place in my heart. So I agree. That's why it's like, come on, man. Like, we can't be too hard on this young lady. And I disagree with you, Tia, because we've been conditioned to be y'all rescuers, right? Like I think Devin said this before. There's probably a reason why y'all feel comfortable enough to do this is because society writ large accepts this type of behavior from y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. Nobody's knocking it, but we're not going to act like somebody won't be in a relationship with somebody or even date them or even marry them, right? Because guys are going to look at it differently. We are going to look at it like, hey, maybe we can help you. Now, granted, to your point, there may be some more questions. And once you kind of vet and realize, oh, well, maybe this person just happened to fall on hard times. And then I get to come in and be like the knight in shining armor. There's also a benefit on that end too, right? Like guys do. I mean, we want to be protectors and providers. And here's an opportunity for us to kind of do both for someone that we're getting to know. You dig what I'm saying? So we just got to be honest. I agree with Devin on this one. Like, yeah, there's people who are down for this.
Where they at? Because I'm single and I'm educated and I'm working. I got my own car. I'm not sleeping in it. My little door don't roll up at the U-Save. You know what I mean? Like, where they at? If they gonna take her, then why am I still single if that's the case? Like, some of this is not true. Some of this is not the case.
Well, maybe you just got standards. Maybe you got
right. I don't want to date Planet Fitness guy.
Now this is we got to move on. But I wanted to say this though when Jay was talking, because if we're being honest though, right? If you just met a young lady and you don't really know her, I wonder how many guys would invite her to sleep at the crib and not expect sex. You know what I'm saying? Because you would invite her over to the crib if you're trying to fuck, right? Because we can't stop. Oh my God, the safety. Nah. If she was down like, hey, what are you doing? Come through. I mean, some guys have that policy. I get that. You damn sure ain't going to her house, right? So she's like, hey, what are you doing later? I guess my quick question to y'all for the fellas, what percentage of guys do you think would require sex for their philanthropy in that situation?
I got a quick answer. They somewhere like 10% more, give or take, of the percent of men who only have a bed and no couch.
Okay. Thank you for that math problem. Go ahead, Delvin. For you guys playing at home, please put the answer below in the comment section.
Multiple choice.
No, there's no multiple choice.
No, I'm saying if there's only a bed there, it's exactly for that. If they have a couch, maybe they're being generous. But if they've only got one bed, I think it's obvious for one reason.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
I think she might skate by that first night, but I think definitely night 2 or night 3, he's like, hey, what's good? What's happening? Because if there's one thing I'm an expert in, is niggas, and these niggas are thirsty. They're going to be expecting the yams definitely by night 3.
Okay.
You're not making it past a week.
And ladies, can I ask y'all this? Conversely, if the woman is staying at the crib, does she and should she feel pressure to give up some sex for a place to stay? What are your thoughts on that?
Take me back to the U-Haul place.
No.
Just let me go back to my storage shed.
Okay.
Go ahead. Answer if you say no.
No, she should not feel obligated to give it up, because maybe I'm just talking from my own personal experience. I ain't have to give up shit, so why the hell she got to give it up? But then again, no, this is different times, right? This is different times. So sometimes, nowadays men expect you to get a Happy Meal and you're supposed to drop the draws.
Come on,
So
man, we can't do that, SNM. She ain't got a place to stay, and you're providing her with comfort and shelter. And now we're comparing it to McDonald's.
I'm just,
Come on.
I'm just saying now
That's
they
like
just
2/8 of
expect
the
you
marriage
for
right there.
the slightest thing. I took you for coffee, you gotta drop them draws. You know what I'm
No,
saying? I don't know.
We get that, but going back to the thing. Okay, so go ahead, T. Did you answer? Did you answer already? You gotta go be honest. You did answer, didn't you? No, because real talk, right? Listen,
not
when
going
I was a
to
homosexual,
hunch for a
y'all gotta
home.
keep it in the buck, so I will. Thank you. You will not do that, but you probably wouldn't find yourself in a position to be hunching for a home. Cool, we get that. But I'm gonna tell you for real, like when I was in that position, yes, I felt like I had to drop off some peen. Like, what the fuck kind of loser, user type of shit is that? Is you just walk through the world just thinking that people are going to give you things, like including a place to stay, and you're not encumbered to do something reciprocally? Okay, maybe it ain't your coochie. But I mean, if you dating the nigga, I will think there's some type of attraction there, so maybe you want to fuck him anyway. And if that's the case, and he's giving you a place, why don't you just give him a taste? You get what I'm saying? Sit on his face. You dig? That's bars. For a little bit of rent. All it would cost you is about a good 15 minutes and a few moans, and now you got a home. Like, come on, man. You can't be
in other words, equal opportunity homosexuals. Okay,
right. With a nigga with a bed with no couch. Take me to the extended
You can't be homeless. You can't be homeless with that level of pride. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Alrighty then. Equal opportunity
I'm gonna go home with nice.
Find the one that's
y'all
gonna
on
let you
this
hunch
one,
for a home. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay,
gonna be horny and homeless at the same
where
time.
you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to get your shit scratched and they want to scratch theirs, it may work out for the best of both of y'all. But you know who had a home and didn't want that home? Our next story.
Modern black women. I'm sorry. I thought that was a
wow.
The hate is so real.
Shade.
Oh my God.
That's like that black business with potential, I guess, huh? But anyways, so we watched a clip of this video where this woman basically shared that she left her husband because despite being financially taken care of, despite being a housewife, because she was unfulfilled. She wanted to fulfill her dreams or have him help him get to his dreams, make his dreams bigger, whatever the case. But basically, she was like, she hated being a housewife. She was like, cooking and cleaning was not for her. She had bigger ambitions and she just was tired of it. And so she left. So here's my question to you guys. One, was she tripping? No, I'm just kidding. That's for those men who like to say, oh, you could be a housewife knowing damn well. Okay, I won't even go there. Let me stop that. But anyways, was she tripping? Now that actually is my question.
You know, I got something to say about it. Should okay, I'll go there. So look here. So I think she's fair, right? At first I was like, man, she just can't be happy, right? She got everything. And I was hard on her in my mind. I know some of y'all are. But then you ask yourself, if being a housewife is a job, right? It's having been a house husband at one point in time, right? A house grandfather, whatever. I don't even know what I do sometimes around there in certain periods of my life. Listen, it's full time. It's a lot of stuff going on, right? So it's a job. If you are allowed to change your job. If you're not, that's indentured servitude or slavery or something. Why can't she change her job? What's wrong with that? She got ambitions. If I'm working at Kentucky Fried Chicken and I don't want to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken no more, I should be able to say I don't want to be a fried cookie. I don't want to do this no more. And I should be able to walk across the street and go do something else. Why is it because I suddenly took a job with the person I married to? I'm stuck at this one job. How's that fair?
You're right. So you're advocating for her, Jay.
I'm advocating for her. I was down on her and I said, girl, do your best thing. Live your best life.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Don't go back and forth with them niggas.
That's what's up. Okay, Jay, supporting black women. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's a time. It comes a time.
Yes. Go ahead, Delvin.
What bigger dream did she have? I'm just trying. Because usually when I see this shit, is really the bigger dream is going back to the streets and random niggas. That's usually what the bigger dream is. I mean, we hear all the time on social media, oh, I want to live the soft life. I want to be a housewife. I want to be a kept woman. This is it. You are living the dream. There's plenty of women, now that I guess your husband's available, that they'll just, slide in and take. There's people who want your job. The women are going to slide in there, especially when they found out you wanted to leave him to pursue your bigger dreams and not support your family. And it's cool. I mean, I hope the streets welcome her back. It was a Tia Mowry. The streets didn't welcome her back. Now she's trying to go back home. They didn't work out. So that's a cautionary tale. But she'll find out. So I'm just wondering if her bigger dream is to be for the streets.
So first, I just want to say I saw that shade you threw in there about her abandoning her family. Basically, I saw that shade. Just want to call you out on that. She may not have abandoned her family to live her bigger dream. So, but Tia, I saw you pop off mic. Go ahead.
I don't even know where to start because the woman don't want to be married no more. She want to be a hoe. That is crazy to me.
That's all it's waiting.
That's crazy that you think the only thing outside of marriage and being someone's wife is all that's waiting for me. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I think that's where men get kind of caught up in the thought that, the roles that are shaped for women are also shaped by men and how it benefits them. So of course, me being a housewife and a good mother and a good housekeeper benefits you. And so that is where you would like me to stay. And then you want to call it comfort. But some of us, just a small percentage maybe, have abilities that exceed that and other options. And a wife may not be the end all be all. And maybe there's something about him that doesn't make it as appealing that makes my replacement very, very easy. Take him. If I wanted him, I wouldn't be giving him up and forfeiting it. It wouldn't be a sacrifice if I wanted to be here. So I don't think she has to go to the streets. I think she might want to go to the jungle and live as a missionary. She could go on a 1-bedroom studio or be on a houseboat going around the world. But if that fulfills her beyond him, then let him be mad. Let y'all be mad too.
I co-sign on all of that, all of it. And I'm just going to add to answer your question, Delvin, while you threw that shade. She actually stated that she wanted to fulfill her dream or at least help him be bigger in his dream. So she was even willing to be a helpmate to him in that regards. Now, some men would say, well, that's what she was doing by cooking and cleaning. But was that really what she was doing? If she was like, hey, help me with skills, help me learn some same skills that you have. Some men was like, oh, well, that means you're just trying to compete with him. And the whole time she was saying these things, she was saying it for the purpose of, no, I just want to do more. I am more than just this. I am more than that. And so I think sometimes when men get in this relationship, they automatically pigeonhole their woman, some men pigeonhole their woman into these gender roles and these gender expectations that may not necessarily meet that woman's needs. Now, at some point, she may have been cool with being a stay-at-home wife, and she could have, but like Jay said, it could have been some involvement. It's a job. It's not something that when she said she hated cooking and cleaning, I can relate. I tried to stay at home for a whole 6 months when I had my baby, and I hated it. Now, I love my baby. I love staying home with him, but I hated everything else that meant being in the house because it was not who I am and it's not who I wanted to be because I also have dreams. I also have ambitions. So I can relate to her in that sense of not wanting to be pigeonholed into just cooking and cleaning. And so I'm just going to say this. At the end of the day, if this is not what she wanted, and if she expressed her concerns to him that she wanted to grow and evolve in that relationship, she had wanted to work or whatever, then he should have also took that in consideration and took her needs in consideration and not just his needs and his wants and went ahead and let her be what she wanted to be within that relationship. Otherwise, she did the right thing by stepping out because, i.e., leaving the relationship to pursue where she wanted to go and where she wanted to be. Now, 10 years from now, she come back like Tracee Ellis and like, oh, I regretted the decision. Then, oh, man, that's fucked up. But at the same time, let her get to that. So I think that he failed in the sense that he didn't recognize what his wife wanted. He didn't honor what his wife needed. And then she found her way out the door because she realized she needed to meet those needs on her own.
It's so funny.
No, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Delvin, man. Please, go ahead.
So let me get this straight. He's whatever he's doing, running the business, doing big things, and the premise is, I don't want your help. Get back in the kitchen. Because is that what I'm hearing?
That's the way she made it sound like. That's
I
how
want to
she
hear
made it
from him.
sound.
I need to hear his side of the story.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Real
Not
code,
pulling the
real
woman
code.
card. That's madness.
First of all, damn, for people who actually listen, you can hear people's implicit biases when they, right? Because this situation, what do we know of the situation, right? So she was married, I'm assuming, right? Is that right? She was married. She decided to leave the relationship and her children. And the reason why she chose to do it was what again? What was the reason why she chose to leave?
So I didn't hear her say anything about leaving her children, but she chose to leave the marriage because she had bigger
Okay,
dreams
got
and
you.
ambitions to
So she
fulfill.
chose to break up the home. Can you answer the question as to the reason why? What was the
I
reason
just told
why?
you why. She
She was
said,
unfulfilled.
I only
The
watch the
reason
same
was
clips you
unfulfilled.
watch.
Was it unfulfilled, right?
That's what it sounded like, yes.
Okay, cool. So at this point in time, all we know is that she just felt unfulfilled, right? She talked about doing dishes and cleaning the house as the reasons why. And I'm calling cap on all of that. Y'all don't understand how ridiculous some of this shit sounds. Now, it's probably a made-up scenario that provides us with an opportunity to have a discussion, right? But let's talk about like commitments that people make, whether it's covenant before God, whether it's covenant before your family, whether it's a promise that you make to your partner, whether it's care for your child, right? The litany of reasons, right? That a person would just say, hey, I'm going to leave this thing, right? Y'all just make it sound like, I mean, I get it. I'm not saying a person shouldn't leave, but honestly, some of that shit is just in your fucking head. Some of it is, right? Because I think one of the things I realized for me is like I can change a perspective. Reframing is a word that I love. Because oftentimes you can take the same situation and if you reframe it, you're going to have a different perspective on it. Maybe you see it differently. Maybe you have a different level of appreciation. There seems to be this reframing when women are making choices that they thought they were supposed to make. And I get that y'all saying, hey, oops, I changed my mind. That's cap. That was never you to begin with. Let's start there. Like y'all be wanting to give everybody the passes. I think there are far too many women who are stuck to the programming and they're making these decisions without taking the time to look within themselves on whether or not this is something that they really fucking wanted. Right? And if you are one of those women who did that and then you decide to break up your fucking family, that is on fucking you. Don't blame that nigga who probably had the conversations with you to try to figure out what the game plan was. You went along with it. Okay, fine. You changed your mind, but own up to the fact that you got into something that you didn't even know for real that you wanted to get into in the first fucking place. One of the other topics, sidebar, and we're going to have today, we were going to talk about in this show was whether or not women want to be married, right? And this kind of topic was close to that because if some of these same women in truth don't really want to be married, they just want the wedding. So then you get the wedding and then you realize, oh shit, there's responsibility that comes with this thing. And you think it's okay. Y'all as women think that it's okay to say this shit out loud? Right? Get some fucking therapy. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what's going on with you that you're not happy. I have a family member, not going to mention her name. She constantly felt like she had to move because whatever was wrong had to be in that city. And at some point, I realized I was talking to her, or maybe she realized it wasn't the city because you carry you with you wherever you fucking go. The fuck are we talking about? Right? Lastly, and maybe this is chauvinist to say to a certain extent, but I'm sorry. God blessed y'all or cursed y'all, it sounds like y'all are saying, with the responsibility of motherhood. I'm sorry. If you don't want that, cool, opt the fuck out. But then you make choices that come with responsibilities. We hold niggas to a certain level of responsibility, not because just they're men, because they're fucking adults. You make choices and decisions and you make covenants and shit. And then what kills me is y'all women in general act like y'all don't understand what men are saying because y'all complain that niggas don't want to get married. And then you create an environment that makes it seem like y'all don't hold marriage to the same standard that niggas who want to get married would hold it to because we don't quit like y'all. At least that's a perception. And then y'all will turn around and say niggas don't want to marry y'all. Well, make up your fucking minds. Now, either going to be like, hey, we're going to stand on some shit. Well, as much as y'all motherfuckers are standing on shit, wouldn't marriage be something to stand on? Or maybe, no, that's a little bit more that foundation is cool. So miss me with all the other shit that y'all are talking about here. And lastly, this bullshit about cooking and cleaning. Are you serious? Are you serious? There's no Uber. Uber don't exist. Uber Eats don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Meal Planner don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be creative. You can't figure out ways to manage a fucking home, but y'all can manage fucking billion-dollar businesses. But managing a home, oh my God, that bar is a bit too high for y'all to figure the fuck out with all the goddamn education y'all got. And you expect a logical thinking person to hear this shit and y'all think it's rational, right? Y'all want to leave commitments because you feel some type of way, right? You want a nigga to commit to you and who's not going to leave you, regardless of how fat you get, how lazy you get, how sex trash falls the fuck off, but you still want a nigga to hold it down there, right? And then not get no pussy on the side. All these different things. But it's too much to ask for y'all to evolve with a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I would agree with y'all, but there's way too many niggas out here talking about how they're willing to compromise. They're helping around the house. They're helping with the kids. So no, miss me with this. Oh my God, it's 1970s and we all got to do all these fucking things. Nobody told you to do all that. You chose to fucking do that. So yes, you can change your mind, but then yes, you got to be accountable for that mistake that you made when you didn't know yourself well enough to make a better decision. And now other people got to pay for your ignorance and self-discovery. Stop playing with him. Stop playing with me. Come on, man. Come on.
So,
Come on,
first
Tia.
of all, oh, go ahead, Tia.
No,
You don't even want none of this smoke. You stay over there. Because that whole rant that you just said was so faulty and convoluted that most women, that's the reason why we leave. Because you're so busy screaming and hollering at yourself about your wants and your needs that you don't have time to slow down and listen to when I'm telling you that you're not making me happy. And lest we forget that Viagra, Cialis, the honey pack regimen, and the gas station pills are y'all best friends. Lest we forget that at 35, if you drink a little bit or you work out too much, that dick don't work. It's a million reasons why we may not want to be with you that has nothing to do with our integrity, our character, or our domestication. I might not just want to wash your funky ass dishes, no matter how much money that you make, because I don't like the way you smell. I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you walk in the morning. I don't like the way you itch your butt. I don't care. It might just be you. And if I don't want to be there, I have a right not to be there. That's why divorce exists. The way you present it makes it seem like women are the creators of most of these separations, and that's not the case.
Well, see, it's funny you said that because when you said the way that I presented, I was very specific, right? Very specific. If you didn't know yourself well enough, you thought you wanted to be a wife and what came with it, and you didn't know yourself well enough, and so now you got other people counting on you, and because you changed, like, oh my God, I don't understand. Like, listen, man, as a person who lives in his head, I mentioned reframing, right? Come on, man. Some of this stuff is in a lot of people's heads, being on social media too much, watching other people. Like, you're a therapist, right? So let me take a pause for a second. How much do you think, because there's studies that talk about the influence of these things in terms of people's discontent, right? Kids, the numbers of fucking suicides that are happening. So we can't pretend like these things aren't impacting people, right? Right? On some level. So when you talk about the dissatisfaction and not being happy, what the fuck does happiness have to fucking do about it? Like, y'all niggas are building your foundations on fucking happiness? Get a fucking hobby. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, learn some fucking arts and crafts. Y'all be too busy blaming other people for why your lives don't be happy. No, sis, the reason her life was not happy was because she was consistently making choices that was not aligned with who the fuck she was. And then she woke up one day with this realization, I guess, and now she's regretful of it. You either own that you was wrong or you didn't do the work necessary to know yourself well enough. When you just changed all of a sudden?
She's owning the responsibility that she chose the wrong husband, and she's being accountable and doing something different. The theory that emotions shouldn't exist in marriages only exist outside of Western world. And here in America, in the land of Christianity and patriarchy and gender roles, right? We marry for love. We're the only people who marry for love. Other countries and continents marry for longevity, finances, lineage, land. There's a bunch of reasons why arranged marriages work. Although outside of the pedophilia and other things that are related in various cultures, the benefit of arranged marriage is that you learn to love each other through the navigation of these things. We're faulty because of that.
My point.
Am I?
You're proving my point. Yeah, you are. So you're talking about how marriages where two people didn't have this magical love seems to be more successful than this bullshit that we're on in regards to just moving with our feelings. My position was that maybe sometimes fuck your feelings. You dig what I'm saying? The same way that two people who didn't meet, who didn't date, are able to somehow forge love. You mean to tell me people with history, who chose each other, who have a commitment together, can't find a way to forge that too in the sake of the foundation that they both equally decided to make? I mean, I hate to break it to y'all black people, and this probably sucks to say, maybe our generation is the last one that even should be talking about marrying for love. Fuck that. I don't know. You know how they say, like scientists say, oh my God, the climate is changing. If it don't happen by 2010, it's going to, yo, we're over that cliff. Y'all niggas think we got all this time to figure this shit out and y'all still want to be marrying for love? That shit is dead. These young people ain't on that type of time anyway. So maybe we start making smarter decisions. But I'm saying if she's in that position, she has a responsibility, I think, to her family first. And unless you can give me some more specific, concrete reasons as to leave the marriage, you not being happy is not good enough. I'm sorry. Do the work to articulate the shit a little bit better. And then when you start talking about what your issues are, for example, oh, you want to get a job, you want to be outside the home. You mean to tell me you can't have a conversation with your significant other and figure out how to change that? How old are the kids exactly? We didn't hear all this in the detail or the example, or maybe I didn't. So supposing a situation that the man was not willing to do those things. But I know for a fact that guys typically who want to stay married are willing to try some shit and try to make the shit fucking work. Right? He doesn't want to fucking lose his family. So if the opportunity is, hey, babe, you know what? I want to get back out there. Okay, what does that look like? All right, cool. Let's change some things around. Let's make it work. Right? So I'm saying just as much as y'all can lean on y'all analogies and make up your own versions of this, there's a version of this where she is just a selfish bitch who decided to leave her fucking family for her own fucking feelings. Okay? And there are women, unfortunately, who are doing that. And stories like these help to propel that notion, which is why I'm saying it's not productive, because men are seeing these things and they're not going to want to sign up for that.
So women are the reason why y'all don't want to get married?
I'm telling you why. Huh?
As a clinician, I see couples every day. I work with couples. I work with their dynamics and their relationships and how they come across barriers and bridges. There are times when a person has made the decision to be selfish in a completely healthy way. There are moments when you choose yourself over your circumstance and your situation, and you choose yourself. And we don't know enough of the dynamics and the details here to know if that's what she was doing or not. We don't know if he was beating upside her head and taking care of her like a lot of situations do. People who are in abusive situations want their marriages too, right? So there's this dynamic. It's not all true. But when you say do the work, her work might have been done in therapy, and the therapist suggested go do what's right for you, honor yourself. And if honoring myself isn't being with the person that I was with 20 years ago, because he's not the same person, and neither am I, like you're talking like there's no upward trajectory and growth while you are with somebody. We exist and we coexist, but I'm still an individual. I still change, I still grow, I still transition. I may have grown into somebody that you can no longer keep up with. I'm going to stick with you? Nah, that might not be my dream.
Listen, go ahead, Delvin.
Delvin be trying to get in.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead. No.
This is total. You can't do it. Guys, like they said, guys see this and they're like, look, I can work myself and put myself in a position and elevate myself enough to give you the gift of being a housewife, a stay-at-home mom. There's a gift. You know what the economy is like out there? It is trash. But that's not good enough. I can sacrifice and put all this stuff out there and go it out so you can be a housewife. And so wherever they live, I'm pretty sure if she's a stay-at-home wife or mom, he makes a pretty decent living. I really don't believe that he was like, listen, I know you want to go build a SpaceX or Microsoft or Apple, but you're going to have to get your ass back in the kitchen. I'm just not buying that.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't. I'm sorry. That makes no sense.
And
so if she want to go pursue her, if she want to go pursue her dream, what dream in general would have to be, I can't be with you. The dream doesn't work if we together. Somebody, I just need one example.
Me.
Just one.
Okay.
That's good enough.
That's one.
So this is a metaphysical self-discovery kind of thing.
No, Delvin did what I said earlier. Guys try to solve problems, right? So he's saying that if she had a desire to do a thing, he would understand, try to figure it out, and it's likelihood that she may not have had one. And then, go ahead, SNM, but you're adding stuff. This situation was proposed. It was set up in a way that's like, hey, I have this thing that everybody wants or thinks that I should want, but I simply don't want it. There was no discussion of there being any abuse or all the other things that I agree with you would justify maybe a person saying, hey, I'm choosing me. right? But can you also identify, though, Tia, that there's probably certain levels of selfishness that is not healthy, right? Like, if
Of
you have
course.
responsibilities and commitments to other people, there's a point of, hey, so what we're trying
No.
to figure out now is where that line is.
Don't
If you
conflate the
agree
two
there's
in
a
that
point.
way.
Oh, that's what.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, we both can agree there's probably a line, but I'm saying, like, but go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. So there is a line, and the line is where I don't get to be everybody in a marriage gets to say, my wife won't do this. My husband won't do this. We all get to throw that flag down wherever we feel like it's most appropriate. But then we're then daring our partner to say, I am or I am not that person. If she drew her flag and said, listen, I think my purpose says I need to be this. He says, well, my wife doesn't do that. Then she's got to decide, is she going to be his wife or is she going to be her purpose, right? And so if he's committed to the marriage, right, he'll go, listen, I love you more than I love the idea of my wife. So I'm going to stay with you and rock with you throughout all of our years as you grow and develop and figure out what you're trying to do and be, right? That would be marriage, right? But if the man create, or woman, if the person creates a space, but it's the man's case, he's supposed to be the provider, right? If he creates a space and then she's like, yo, this ain't me. And he's like, yo, how dare you refuse this box I built for you? This gift, this nice cage. It's gold. It's got marble floors. But she's like, yo, it's still a cage because it's not my environment. It's not where I'm supposed to be. Now, should he have asked better questions? Yes. But you're supposed to be married. Give her room and space to grow. I think the reason, if she's leaving the marriage, then I have to assume, and we've all assumed something tonight, I have to assume that she's leaving because he drew a line and said, you can't be my wife and be X. And she said, well, then I won't be your wife. Because as long as they're both at the table and she's going, this is where I need to grow. And he's like, well, let's see how we can do that. I don't know why she would get up from it. And that would be not only selfish, that'd be beyond selfish. That would be petty and small-minded.
Jay summed up what I was going to say in regards to that line in the sand, especially when I heard somebody say it's a gift. Well, a gift for who? And the fact that you came in with the mindset that it's a gift already said that 9 out of 10, your mindset, not you particular, but somebody who had the gift mindset will already say, but I'm doing this for you. And you have this that nobody else has. So why would you want anything else? And if it's a gift, then he would feel like he's reneging on his opportunity to provide her with that gift if she want to go do something else, because now it's a status symbol for him. I was able to gift you this. And if she no longer wanted to be part of that because she wanted to do something else or whatever, then that gift now becomes a burden, becomes that cage. It becomes that poisonous apple that was supposed to feed her, but now it'll kill her spirit. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say I agree with Jay because I don't want to prolong the point. And I know this twice in one, man, I ain't used to it either. It might be the dashiki from Taiwan you got on.
It might be each other. Y'all deserve each other on that. And listen, man, we can move on. But this is the thing I find probably the most interesting about this, right? Not interesting, this is typical, right? Because somehow it still had to be about him not allowing her to do X, Y, Z. We had to frame it that way. And it just can't simply be. So I'll say this maybe so in closing, okay? Ladies, I suggest y'all tap in with yourselves for real, and decide on whether or not you want to step up and do certain things. Sorry. Have real conversations with your partner. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Curse God for putting y'all in charge in the baby making department. Okay. Like, find some reconciliation, get some premarital, postmarital, during marital counseling. Okay. Because I swear for God, I think some of y'all are creating things in your own head that's destroying families. I really, really, really do. Okay. And because as a man, and I'll land with this, right? Because it wasn't like everything was all good. I remember as a man thinking about divorce at one point in time. It was like, you know what? I had to go through certain things. I had to stand on certain things. There was no way that I would be able to go back to my family or whoever, right? Or look at myself in the mirror and not have reasons as to why I was about to make this choice. And honestly, at the time, it probably was because I was unhappy. It was this fleeting thing of happiness. Like, oh, she doesn't see me and all this other kind of stuff. And you know what happened? We went to therapy. And would you believe it? That reframing thing, you come out the situation and, oh my God, it's the greatest thing these past 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So as a person who's gone through, whether it's been depression sometimes or there's different ways that our minds affect us, sometimes you realize that sometimes it low-key really be in your brain. And so what I would do is try to find tangible things to make sure that it was not something that my anxiety was conjuring up. Make sure it was not something that I was imagining because maybe the chemicals in my brain was not working. So we didn't talk about things like mental health, which is a real thing, right? So I get that. And I don't want to come across like I don't have empathy. But what I don't have empathy for is like, because y'all avoided that. But what this story sounded like to me was yet another caricature of how women are just leaving relationships for the most ficklest of reasons. And that's what I'm pushing back on. Right? If you're talking about leaving for good reasons, 1000%. But if I'm pro-marriage and I hear men saying that the reason why they're reticent is because they can't trust after they make the type of commitment to a woman in marriage that men are expected to make, that when they see examples like this and hear people on podcasts talking about it and women on Clubhouse or in the comment sections at a girl, and yeah, girl, yeah, it might have been one example, but those other people who become the choruses give the guys the reasons to turn the radio off on that marriage channel. And until y'all realize that, I don't think we're going to make any progress because y'all too busy pointing things at each other. With that, I mean, I hear y'all, but it's all good. Speaking of pointing fingers at each other, this is a sharp turn here, so please forgive me for this one. This is a story that we didn't cover. I mean, we did do the prelude episode and the season premiere. I think partly because in this particular case, we're talking about Carmelo Anthony, not the basketball player, but the young man, the young athlete, the young man who was charged, I believe, with murder in Texas after an incident occurred where there was a stabbing. Another young student, being Caucasian, was stabbed, died. And he was charged. I think they had like $1 million bail initially. There was outrage in regards to the amount of bail that was being charged. Eventually, it looks like that had changed or was reduced to around 250. He's currently at home under house arrest with his family. But since the incident occurred, there's been a lot of what sounds like outrage. For me, I'll be honest, until 3 days ago, or maybe 2 days ago, was not really aware of the story. I did see people talking about it from afar, but I wasn't sure of the details. So pardon my ignorance in that way. But what are you guys' thoughts? I'm sure you guys have heard it. It may have been recent developments, and I think that's been part of the issue. So what are your thoughts in regards to this Carmelo Anthony story and the tragic incidents that happened in Texas?
I don't know all the.
Oh, y'all are ready to rock and roll today.
I was going to pause because I don't know all the recent developments. Like, you said that. I was going to grab from my phone real quick. Like, what did I miss? The general lay of the conversation for me is, of course. Well, is it different? Would it be different if it was a white person? Of course it would be, because people automatically assume that black people are more aggressive. That we're the aggressors, we're the predators, we're whatever. They made movies about it or whatever. So, but I think if you look at these gentlemen, they were big. Look at this man; he was kind of thin. People's accounts said they broke his property and that they threatened him or whatever, told him he's going to get it or whatever. It was 2-on-1. How is it not self-defense? I don't even know why he's being charged. So as we follow this, I think there's one side of America that tends to shade a certain way that is looking for some sort of lynching, right? And I'm not saying it's all of them, but I think there's definitely a representative portion. And then there's another side that is saying, where was his outrage when Trayvon Martin was just walking through a neighborhood? He was minding his own business, right? Like, make it make sense. But I think we have to accept that the system just doesn't do us fair. And if we don't speak up, it never will. And maybe we should just police our own neighborhoods. So I digress. I got my soapbox. Sorry, y'all. Soapbox. Same thing. So my bad. So I think the biggest troubling part of this story is that there was a cycle of bullying. It wasn't the first time. Right? Somebody could have stepped in. Nobody's asked where the teachers are. They blame this young man. Nobody said, where were the people all the time this fighting was going on? Nobody's pointing out that it's still 2-on-1. Whatever he had to grab, be it a brick, be it a truck, be it a chair, it was 2-on-1. He had to, how was he not defending himself? The fact that we're still talking about it says that there's something wrong with our system.
Okay, hold on, Jay. I got to ask this because we were talking about new information.
Yeah.
So you're speaking to a fight. Can you be more specific in regards to the fight you're speaking to?
All right. So he had an interaction with the guys before, right?
Okay.
This fateful meeting was not their first interaction. he had had interactions with guys before somewhere else, like purportedly at a party. But that was separate. And at the party, the guy, the black dude had got handled at the party. Okay. And they told him he was going to get some more. That was my understanding. And so when he showed up at this track meet, right, they came to where he was minding his own business, and they started messing with him again, told him he had to leave. The man was there to run the track meet. That's what I'm saying. And so that the fight sets in motion that he could have been in fear for his life. Even if he wasn't, they destroyed his property, and they were both attacking him at one time. So it's still the same thing.
Just to be clear, when you said there's two of them, you were talking about the fight that occurred prior, not the day of the incident. I just want to make sure because...
No, the account that I heard was that, but the account that I listened to on my public radio was that, I think it was public radio, yeah, because it's all listed in the car. Anyway, so the account that I heard was there were both brothers were there. They both were in a struggle. He took out the knife and stabbed one, and then the other way he noticed his brother was stabbed, and he was like, of course, he stopped fighting and started trying to tend to his brother, and dude kind of left. They were both involved in the scuffle. Only one of them got stabbed. So once one was stabbed, they stopped fighting.
Okay. I just want us to be very...
three guys. That's how I heard. Yeah. Allegedly.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I just want us to be a little careful in regards to the information that we are spreading in regards to the particulars here, because I think we all can agree, regardless of what side of this you fall on, that misinformation is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Can we agree with that to a certain extent, right? Because it can, especially in this case, I think that's where legitimately there's some concern, right? So I just want us to try to avoid adding as much misinformation as possible. So that's the only thing I'm kind of being very careful about. But go ahead, whoever has more details, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, I did not know of what Jay said. And let me set the floor a little bit because I feel like maybe having not had as much information. So when I initially went to go read the article to get information in real time, there was like 3 or 4 different articles that I read. And in terms of anything about there being an altercation from before, I think there was a mention of that, but there was no police called at that time. And so I did hear about that, but there was no details about the particulars. It was a knife that was involved, which led people to question why would he have a knife. So there was conversations in regards to that. So there's just been a lot of information. So when I landed was that he was in the tent. He was told to leave. He was not necessarily supposed to be there. And then when he was told to leave, the guy who tried to get him to leave, he told him, "Hey man, if you put your hands on me, it's going to be an issue." Yada yada yada. Right. So a lot of, I guess, the pro-white or the this nigga did this shit, let's lynch him movement, I guess, painted a narrative, if we're going to say it that way. But I don't know. And then from there, there's been more information. So the first place I'd ask is, where are y'all getting this other information from? Because I am not able to find it. So let's start there with anything that's outside the narrative. Where are you guys getting this information from? I did hear the mother speak today, for example. I don't believe the father spoke. I think the lawyer did speak, but the mother spoke in regards to, hey, what they're going through, but she made it clear she was not going to mention anything as it relates to the particulars of this case, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know who's been talking, who hasn't been talking, who stopped talking. So can y'all please edify us of where you guys are getting some of this additional information?
Yeah, I'm go ahead, Jay.
You want the confirmation of the altercation or whatever, or what are you asking for? The fight before, or how it went down?
You were giving details that happened in the tent, were you not, sir?
No, I was saying in the tent it was said that he threw the phone.
Okay, so what source do you have that
I was
cites
watching
what happened in the tent?
my Fire Stick News, and I don't subscribe to tabloids.
I'm only asking because you're picking up your phone like you're going to search and check.
Yeah.
So if you want to put that into the phone, that, hey, where's there some details, that'd be a good place to start, right? So, and I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to be this way.
Tia jumped back to bit to tell where her sources are.
Huh?
Tia's jumping to tell her sources.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, all mine are news media sources from the Metroplex, basically. So you tune in and every day it's something new because they're also tracking the outrage and the support and the racism that's coming from it. Because if you look in the comments, there's such a huge division between blacks and whites about where they stand. For me, it's not necessarily what led up to it. For me, it's the fact that he was demonized before we knew really what happened. And I think for Black Americans, we're so used to being the bad guy that we came out and defended even before knowing if he was the bad guy or not, right? It recently came out through a news outlet that it wasn't actually a knife, which means it's a question of premeditation. And it was actually a cleat cleaner, which people who run track or play field would know that, the grass gets stuck in the cleats and they clean it out with it. And so if this child was in a previous assault, then his phone was thrown, then he was assaulted and being physically removed from an area where the coaches came out and said everyone could sit because it started raining, then it looks like it was probably self-defense. And that came from news media resources directly from the DFW and their news sources.
Which came from the news, with the fact that it was a track cleat and not a knife?
Yes, the fact that it was a track cleat and not a knife came out when he was released, when his bail was dropped from $1 million to, I believe, $250,000, which shows that there's a significant issue, or something has happened with the evidence, with the charge. Something is going on. They don't drop $1 million bail for murder if there wasn't a change in disposition of some sort. So the young man was released, and then the information came out that it was a cleat cleaner as opposed to it being an actual knife that he concealed.
So did they confirm details of what occurred that day beyond what was in police reports?
They actually said that people are coming out and giving further reports. So now the children around are speaking about the fight that took place a week before at a party where he was beat up really badly. People are coming out talking about when the kids approached him, telling him to move. The coach was the one who validated the fact that he had been told to sit there, because they were trying to find a reason why he didn't belong, why he was in the wrong place and committed this crime. So people are now saying, nope, I told him to go up there and sit there because it was raining. He did just get through practicing and scrimmaging. There were other kids here who weren't on the team. He wasn't out of place, and he wasn't here to be a troublemaker. And I think that was what the assumption or the narrative was beginning to be shaped. Like, he was here with the intent of committing this crime with a knife. He planned it because he got beat up the week before. And that just doesn't really track with what's happening right now.
So I'm just going to provide my perspective on why it became somewhat of a black or white issue. One, because of the immediate demonization of this kid by basically saying that, acting as if it was premeditated, even though even in that initial report, there were people who stated that he said, "Don't touch me. If you touch me," they was like, "Well, why not?" It's like, "Well, touch me and find out." Which shows that once again, they had opportunity to walk away and they chose not to walk away. He did not react until they touched him. And then coupled with the later on information about the fact that these two had a history of bullying him anyways. Now, I'm going to say history because more than once, that's a history. So since previously, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come out even further, that they probably were school bullies, and at this point it becomes, well, when do we get to defend ourselves? We had somebody who was carrying Skittles and some tea, and he wasn't considered self-defense. So when do we get to defend ourselves? How many times do we have to get punched? How many times do we have to sit here and just take whatever abuse is being thrown at us? Do we have to, they threw my phone. Okay, so my phone is an object. Okay, fine. I don't have to hit you. I don't have to respond back to that. But I also warned you, don't touch me, and you touch me. So why am I not expected to react when you touch me? You've been warned. I'm tired of turning the other cheek. I know myself personally. I ain't turning no other cheek so you can hit me again in the other cheek, And so I think we're in that age now of where you fuck around and you found out. And as much as callous as this sound, he found out. He got warning. And he still proceeded because he didn't expect any consequences. This was the consequences of his action. We're so quick to say, oh, Black people do this and Black people do that because they already immediately view us as violent individuals, when in reality, that's not the case. That's what the media shows because that benefits them to show that. Whereas if you go to all FBI stats and so forth, you actually see who the biggest perpetrators are. But you don't know that because most posts will only throw out that 1350 stat without saying that 1350 is actually arrest. And then they don't point out the exoneration is at actually 53%. So that means half of those 50 were exonerated, even if they were arrested. Now, I will say this. I feel terrible that a life was lost because I always feel terrible when a life is lost. But at the same time, I'm with this guy until you prove me otherwise. This young boy, this young man who had a shining career, he was an athlete. he was a excellent student, and now you out here trying to paint him like he was a thug. You over here trying to find, not you, but the media over here trying to find every picture on social media where it looked like he was doing something negative to paint him this way, when you clearly have pictures of this young white man. I'm going to call man because they call our children men and women when we're under the age of 18. But up to 23, they'll still call a white person a white boy that's 23 a boy instead of a man. But with that being said, we are tired. So they raised money, $250,000 or more, and there was an uproar like, oh, they're raising money for their killer. Well, shit, you raised $2 million for Kyle Rittenhouse, and he was for sure a killer. But you know what, though? That was white on white crime, I guess, so I guess it didn't matter. But, still life was taken. But same for George Zimmerman. They raised money for him. So everybody got money raised for them, but it's a problem for us to raise money for this young boy. It's a problem for us to do it. It's no problem when you do it, but it's a problem for us to do it. And then there's the immediate slander of his family, like, oh, they squandered the money on the house, or they bought a new car with his money. Well, how the fuck you know what the hell they bought? Are you in their pockets? Are you at their house? Or are you just sensationalizing the story because certain people will most likely believe these tropes because they want to, because they already believe the worst because the media always portray that. Even the headlines aren't correct. So that's where I'm going to stand. I will stand with him and his GoFundMe. I do support his GoFundMe because, hey, at the end of the day, if we can't defend ourselves when we're actively being harmed, when we're actively being hurt, then why in the hell can you defend yourself when you're not even being hurt? And I mean you as in these white people who are actively going to seek somebody to hurt them with the intent to harm and to hurt. But all of a sudden it's self-defense when they get defended back. So once again, I'm sorry that there's a life loss in this situation, but fuck around, found out. It's just callous, but it's true. Consequences.
I usually reserve judgment on these kind of things. I wait for the investigation and police report to, be convicted. I definitely don't trust the wisdom of the crowd because depending on what's happening, people will become forensic specialists, crime scene investigators. It gets really, really weird. So, I just like to wait for these things to kind of play out. Like we said, the disinformation is a huge problem in these kind of cases. Everybody talked like they was there or they know somebody that was there. Their cousin was there. It went from a knife. Now it's, we find out it's a, cleat cleaner. So other details are going to come out. But I think we need to not be triggered. And that's one thing as Black people, why we get trolled, because everybody knows we're easily triggered and trolled. And that's why we get played a lot of times. So let's wait for the investigation. Let's wait for the trial to come out. I can't say when I heard, oh, he had a knife at the track meet, I was like, well, that's kind of odd. That seems a bit weird. So that immediately sent up a red flag. So that's why I say, look, let's wait for this to kind of play out and let the investigation work its way through, and let's relax. Let's get to the facts and let those things come out.
Yes, thank you so much, Delvin. I'm so glad that you went ahead of me with saying that, so that you said it so eloquently and smoothly that I don't even have to repeat it. I'll be honest, there's a reason, because what you said, Delvin, is the reason why I haven't been paying attention. I don't have a lot of bandwidth. I just don't. Like, if you're talking about looking for stories to be outraged about, I'm sure there's some that happen every day. And I kind of wonder, like, why certain stories get certain attention, I guess. And so kudos to all of you guys who did pay attention, and maybe your voice was heard in regards to the reduction of bail. So there was some positive outcome to your outrage. But by and large, aside from the interest that I think we show in these types of cases, I don't know, I guess I'm becoming more cynical. Maybe that's just really what it is. You know what I mean? But I love the point that Delvin made, because more information, that's why I kept on harping in the beginning, right? Like, we hear these stories, this person said this and this person, and before you know it, you don't even know what to believe. Like, I genuinely right now, I'm sitting here because I was asking earnestly, like, I read one thing. I get that we can't believe the news anymore, so that's a problem to a certain extent, because as I'm looking and y'all talking, I'm looking up knife, track, cleat cleaner. I find nothing. There's nothing in the, I guess, whatever the accepted news media that, I guess how I do my normal search. So to Delvin's point, there's going to be more information that will come out. And so I get why we as Black people, PTSD, trauma response all the time. But I love that Delvin said that, because I'm just not going to fall for that every time. I'm not saying that I don't care in that way. I do generally, but I have to be a better steward. I care about me more. And so because of that, I'm going to just exercise some patience and wait till there's some information to come out. But the other thing is like, if I can't do nothing about it for real, or if I'm not going to do anything about it for real, then what the fuck does my outrage really do for real? That was one of the questions that I asked myself. Like, it's like, I get that we be outraged, but I feel like we think that that's going to do something for real. And I'm real enough with myself to know that it's not. So unless I'm actively going to do something, let's say if it's criminal justice, am I donating to some organization? Am I volunteering? Am I spending time? Am I consistently? And I can acknowledge and be honest with y'all that I'm not. I do my thing, but in no way, shape, or form is it enough for me to feel like I'm doing enough, right? Let's be honest, for real. So it's just kind of like, I get it. It is important to bring light to it. It is important to have conversations about it. There is conversations about bail practice. I think overall, as it relates to the practice of bail and how it's used punitively, I think that's an issue. There's also an issue around, like, if there is some, trolling, or not trolling, but bullying going on. I think that's certainly an issue. And then obviously racism is a part of this too. But the funny thing is, if it were a Black boy because y'all love doing the whataboutisms too, right? And I hate that y'all do that all the time, because every circumstance is not going to be the same. I'm sorry, different states, different people. I get that we love to do that, but in the George Zimmerman situation, a Black boy died. So if you want to try to make it fair a little bit, I wonder how y'all would feel in regards to Russian judgment if it was a Black boy that died. Right? Would we want? So it's just funny, because it just depends on whether or not you're going to stand on the side of, I guess, fairness. And I get that we try to do that when it comes to bail, but I don't think that we do that all the way. For real. And so for me, I try to be as partial as possible until more information arises, which is why I think I'd make a good juror, but some of y'all would not. But anyways, not y'all specifically on the show, but way too many people on social media. If y'all got called to the stand to like testify, hey, could you be impartial about this case? Oh, yes, Your Honor, I can. Well, hold on. We have this tape from Clubhouse. Can you please hold on?
Is this you? Is this you?
Or Tia was on a podcast. Hold on. Is this you on the BLC Pod, ma'am?
I would never be selected for a jury. Never.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But listen, I see some. So it's been a great episode. I feel like we should get some final thoughts up in here. You know what I mean? We don't want to wear Tia out on the first episode. Man. You know what I mean? So let's get some final thoughts before we get. Matter of fact, let's start with Tia. Girl, how was your first? Well, first, this is what we do. Final thoughts. We give our final thoughts either on the show, any particular topic, whatever you want, for like a minute or less, girl. So how you doing? How'd you enjoy your first show? We appreciate having you, for real.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I love the dialogue. I love the banter. The capping and the gaslighting, it goes hand in hand. I'm so appreciative that I get to have it with this dope ass group of people. So I'm definitely looking forward to learning you all more so I can keep up. And I'm here for everything that's Black. So I'm just here to support and talk and be a part of this, Uhuru. I need to get me a dashiki from Taiwan. I think it'd make it official.
I got you.
I'd be really accepted into the group now. So anyway, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Delvin.
Yeah, it was a dope episode. I think this was a great episode to Guns Blazing Season 5 premiere. I had a blast. Glad Tia, you could join us and we can mix it up a little bit and spice it up. So that was great. On the topic I want to close out with, I think the whole marriage thing was really big. We got to give guys a reason to not want to just hit the eject button and just stick with situationships and creating baby mamas. That's not good. We gotta make marriage great again. Situationships is down bad. We can't do it. So, like I said, let's be thoughtful. Let's honor our vows and our word and be positive and move forward. And let's stay together. I'm supporting Black businesses and Black love, and I want both of those things to be successful and thrive in 2025.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Jay.
Yeah. All right. So I think I learned a couple of things tonight, or a couple of things came up. I think success without purpose is hollow, and you'll keep searching. I think that that support people without standards is empty and enabling. And I think we learned that everything has an opportunity cost. You know what I mean? Going to challenge somebody at a place, choosing your career over love, everything has an opportunity cost. And when you make that choice, just do the math ahead of time. And if you have to chalk it up to a variable and some stuff you can't include, then just accept that you left that in there. And at some point in time, the math got to start mathing. So just learn to accept yourself and learn to work with your strengths and your weaknesses and wherever you are in life. If it's not the way you thought it would be, I would hope that you would reshape your vision or reshape yourself, right? So the end goal is not just to exist, man, but always, always to elevate. Elevate to your next experience. See what I did there?
Graduate even in the name of Tia Mowry. She said she graduated from there. She's the first go around, but go ahead, SNM.
So first, I'm so excited, Tia, that you're able to join because, hey, I needed some energy, feminine energy, because sometimes the capping and the gaslighting gets too much for me. Although I appreciate you this episode, Jay.
I'm
with that being said,
I thought me and Nick did okay.
I thought we right, Delvin. I felt like we kept it at that.
With that being said, I also think that for the one main theme that's running through this episode is all about consequences, right? Consequences of your action. That includes if you have poor quality and customer service as a Black business. It includes if you're a homeless woman. Like her choices of deciding to be homeless and still dating, the consequences of those actions. I'm waiting to see what those consequences are for her, because for me it was pretty positive, although, but anyways, with that being said as well, just consequences in general from the woman who decided that she wanted to leave her marriage because she was unfulfilled, consequences from this guy, this young man who lost his life because he didn't believe in the find out stage of fuck around, and just consequences from us being here today on season 5 with 5, which makes me happy as shit. So, love y'all. That's all I gotta say. Boop, boop, season 5.
Yes. Listen, y'all, I'll just say this hopefully quickly. The main Black business that I support is marriage. That's the main Black business that I support. I can get behind that Black business, right? And guess what? Everybody's business will look differently, right? And I don't care how it looks. I feel like, for real, we need to come together. Figure that shit the fuck out. And when we get together, listen, even when we were talking about the whole Michelle Barack thing, she did 33 years. I'm okay. You did 33 years and you want to bounce. You done paid your dues. I'm not tripping off of that. Nobody is tripping off of people making their choices. Where we are lamenting, though, is that those choices have implications, not to only to the person, but to the family and to the rest of us, because some of us are taking these talking points home and is getting in the way of us handling our business. And that business is to get together, man, and get married and find love. Even if it's not official marriage, we need partnership. We need companionship. We need help. We need community, right? All that shit. So kudos to Shorty who's out there. I wish her the best. I hope she finds her homeful king. You know what I'm saying? And really, on behalf of anybody out there who's looking for love, I would hope my co-host will join me in wishing that you find whatever love your heart desires that leads to the type of relationship that is gainful in however way you define it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch. You know what I'm saying? Get you some, you know what I mean? Because we got them for you to get some. With that being said, on behalf of Tia, SNM Jones, and Just Jay, and DelvinTheExpert, it's your boy Nic Nice with the BLC Pod. We'll see you next week. Be easy.
Peace.